Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for the latest episode of Supernatural Family Feud. And they have really been hitting it out of the park with these last couple episodes of Supernatural. I mean, it's filler, but we still have really kind of good momentum kind of going forward with our kind of main story arc. And I only say that because it's only starting to really kind of coalesce around Lucifer's Nephilim and kind of the stuff that's going to be going along with that. And that's the kind of intriguing stuff because the strange thing about this season is there hasn't really been one giant kind of overarching arc that we've been able to follow until this kind of point. We've had different kind of groups of like the Men of Letters, the whole Mary Winchester situation, and then Lucifer. And now they're kind of getting kind of a little bit tighter and kind of being giving more importance to Lucifer's kid as being the main thing, with the other ones kind of complementing and coming into the story when it's needed. So I really liked how that's been being fine-tuned with these past couple episodes, and we've been getting kind of filler that's not really filler, because it still kind of works into what we've been doing with these characters. So this episode starts out, and we got a pretty effective jump kill, and that we see this woman in her house, and we see all these kind of things moving, and then out of nowhere, as she's lying in her bed, these hands come out and like go into her as she kind of like explodes or something, because we see blood squirt. It's like, holy crap. And we've learned that this is 6 months ago in Massachusetts. So then we get to the present day, and we see that Sam and Dean are kind of checking stuff out. They're talking about this teacher that died in Des Moines, Iowa. And then they finally get to the teacher that had died in Massachusetts. And it's like, dealing with all these like museum stuff, maybe we should just check it out, see what's going on. And that starts the ball rolling, and they get there, and it's linked to Crowley's son, Gavin, the ship that he was supposed to be on that went down. And it was like, holy crap, that's kind of cool, bringing in that kind of aspect and seeing what's going on with Gavin, because Crowley just kind of like let him loose in our time, and that's kind of all we've kind of really heard from him. And then we kind of see other stuff that's going along with this as well. We get to see Kelly kind of figuring out what she's trying to do since she's on the run. We also see Crowley and Lucifer, and seeing Crowley deal with Lucifer in his way, like, I've got the upper hand now, and explaining to him what he did, how he had changed Rowena's spell that was going to cast Lucifer back in the cage, and instead had pretty much had this real elaborate plan that you wouldn't have noticed on the first go around, but now that he's explaining it, like, oh crap. He'd taken Lucifer's old vessel, which they had found repaired and improved it so that way it's a fitting vessel for him, and had his essence put into there, wrapped in chains made out of the material from the cage, because he'd had demons working on it to figure out what it's made out of. And it's like, damn, that's actually a pretty good plan, but you're still dealing with Lucifer here, and Lucifer acting as this cocky self, like, oh, you just need this for your little revenge, how sad. And just kind of needling him throughout the whole exchange when we see him, like, oh, since I'm going to be a single dad, what do you have advice-wise? When should I let him date? And just seeing Mark Pellegrino be Lucifer again, it's just really good. He just does something as Lucifer that very few other actors can. And I just can't wait to see until he's like pretty much let back into himself, having a full vessel that he can use for his own gains and all that, without having to like hunt for another one, and just see what he's going to try and do. And that just sets up for some interesting respects, because you know he's going to get out, and you know he's going to visit back up on Crowley. And Crowley's going to have some contingency plans in place, because it's stupid to think that you can screw with Lucifer like this and get away with it. So while this is going on, we also get to see Sam and Dean doing their stuff, like, okay, so we're here, what's going on? Dean takes out the EMF reader, and we're like, I'm going to say I moved from witch to ghost now. And Sam's like, yeah, but museums are kind of like the center point for like ADHD ghosts with like tethers and everything. And it could be anywhere at this point. So they kind of do some snooping around. That's when they get into the part with like Gavin and all that. And they're like, okay, we got to get in contact with this. So of course that's when they call Crowley, and that's when he's like kneeling Lucifer. And Lucifer said, well, I can still feel my Nephilim still alive, so yeah. And Crowley's under the impression that the Winchesters took care of it. And they're like, he's pissed off. They're like, why didn't you take care of this yet? You need to take care of this. Well, we need to speak to your son. You take care of this first. And it's like, crap. So they have to go and they have to get a hold of Rowena. It's like, we need to find this guy, first-hand knowledge witness of the boat and everything. And it's like, okay, so they get Gavin under false pretenses. It comes like, oh, how's my father? Why is he so sick and everything? And I was like, oh, we lied to you, man. We kind of need your help with something. It's like, hey. And then we introduce him to Rowena. And Gavin's interesting because he's not like Crowley at all. He's actually a good guy. He just kind of wants to be left alone and kind of out of the supernatural business. Like, oh, Gavin, here's your grandmother Rowena. It's like, this is kind of weird. Hey, dude, none of this should be possible. Neither of you should be alive. This is how it kind of goes. So they all kind of go visit and see what's going on with the ship, and we get some information talking about this teacher that had been part of the village that was on there as well, looking and seeing that this locket was there. And this is kind of where it gets really interesting because he'd given that locket to his girlfriend, pretty much almost assumed fiance, Fiona, and he's like, but we were supposed to meet before getting on the boat. How did this work out? And of course they're searching through the effects and don't see it because after the ghost had killed like a scout leader and whatnot, the locket was put into the coat pocket of this woman teacher and they kind of left the premises. So it's like, oh crap, that tether is out in the wild. And of course they go figure out where it's at, go to the schoolhouse, and the ghost is tearing up a rampage, taking out one of the teachers and then getting ready to take out the other when Sam and Dean bust in and shotgun the ghost. Like, okay, we need to get this all set up. And they get Gavin to try and summon the spirit, and we find out that it is his Fiona. And she's like, why did you leave me? What was going on? Because she snuck aboard the boat and stowed away, and explains that the crew scorned, mocked her, and had their way with her. And that the teacher of the village didn't do anything to help her. And how she was pissed at teachers and those who have charge over children not doing their duty and protecting those children. And that's why she'd been going after all these different teachers and all these people who were put in charge of children. And of course they're trying to figure out how to fix the situation, and Sam, Dean, and Rowena come up with like, well, we're going to have to send you back. That's the only way to stop this, because Gavin felt guilty about all these people dying. And he's like, well, we could send you back and this will stop this from ever happening. And then of course Crowley pops up and is pissed off. I mean, rightly so. Crowley's a complicated character. He usually does the right thing for wrong reasons, but with this he was trying to be a father to his son. And of course that's always well and good, except when you start to create temporal kind of paradoxes that could happen, such as taking your son out of the timeline and putting him in another point in the timeline. That kind of screws with shit. So Rowena actually stopped him from like taking Gavin away, and they go and they mess and make up a whole spell and everything and get him sent on his way. And it was cool to see Gavin accept this and be like, we have to do it this way. Seeing Fiona come up and them embrace, and Gavin go back in time and see that there was no records of the deaths or what. And which, come to think about it, why would they even have remembered to look for the deaths? I don't know. When you get into time things, it always gets a little bit funny, but they had knowledge of it and were like, well, there's no deaths of this, so it must have worked. Sorry, I just thought of that. I'm like, that's kind of weird. They shouldn't have really known that the deaths were to have occurred at all if Gavin went back. I don't know. It's one quibble, and it kind of works into Supernatural anyway, because you never know how that kind of stuff works out. So that's all well and good. Everything's all kind of hunky-dory, and then we see Crowley and Rowena talking, and Rowena did it, one, because it was the right thing for Gavin to do, and two, she wanted revenge for having Crowley force her to kill Oscar for removing the mark of Cain and all that. And it was like, damn. And that she wanted him to know the pain of losing a child. And I was like, that's pretty dark, and that's still fits into the family dynamic. Is like, you do not want to fuck with Rowena. I mean, the Crowley family in general you don't want to fuck with, but she will get you back somehow if she can get it within her power to do so. And just seeing Crowley just like sitting there like, damn, she got me in a way that he hasn't been gotten before. It's like, wow. And also in the episode, because that's kind of where we mainly end off, we get to see other stuff. We see Mary, as she was asked if she wanted to join in on this hunt, lie to the Winchesters and everything, and just was also testing this cool gun on the Rougarous, and doing that with Ketch, timing it and everything, and kind of seeing the like back and forth between Ketch and Mary, and as they were going on saying that she was the best he'd ever seen, and that she's weaker with the boys, and that she should just devote herself fully to this. But that scares her that she's so good, that this is her element. And that kind of we get to see that that's turning in her head, kind of turning the wheels and everything, and that she doesn't like what's happening with that. And of course, later on, we see her go and actually tell Sam and Dean that she's been working with the British Men of Letters, and they're like, well, we don't really trust them. How does this kind of like get into our kind of field? Like, what's that between us? It's like, we're still family, because she'll put family above all else. And of course, we do see interspersed shots towards the end of them kind of arguing and everything, because Dean's pissed off about it. But granted, this is a Dean move that Mary's pulled anyway. So, it's still kind of like Dean's usual thing. He would do something but be pissed off if somebody else did the same thing to him. And it'll be interesting to kind of see how this resolved itself out, because the British Men of Letters is probably going to be pretty important dealing with Lucifer going forward. Not only with their resources and their manpower and their technology, but with them understanding how hunters work and operate and what Sam and Dean actually do. They could change them to be a little bit more lenient with their ways with dealing with hunters. We'll have to see how that works out. Then we also get to seeing the whole Kelly bit, and we got a lot of good information on that part as well, because she was in a kind of diner or whatnot, and then the waitress's eyes kind of glowed after talking to her and kind of dropping kind of heavy-handed hints. And it's like, okay, she's probably an angel. So then we see Kelly walking, and she's being followed by this dude. And as she tries to escape from him, like, runs into the waitress, who pulls out an angel blade, and so does he. And then she's saved by this woman whose eyes glow yellow, and she just pretty much puffs both of the angels and says, come with me if you want to live. It's like, okay, we're probably going to learn some interesting stuff about this one, and it's Dagon, kind of talking about how angels and demons and all that kind of stuff is propaganda, that, yeah, I'm a demon, you're little Lily Rosemary with the baby. And I really liked Dagon as a character. She really, I don't know, she's just pretty well done. I'm interested to learn more about her and what her goals are, and what she's going to be trying to do with Lucifer's Nephilim. And talking to her and saying, listen, good, bad, hey, the Winchesters and angels are supposed to be good, but they're trying to kill you and the kid. Good, evil, what does that mean? It's all in the upbringing. This kid could save everyone. And pretty much talks her into taking her protection. And that's going to be a key point to see what goes on with that going forward. Because at the end, we've seen all these different kind of cuts between everything. We see Lucifer with his eyes closed, and he says, Dagon. And it's like, okay, does Lucifer have some capabilities to commune with these princes of hell? And to what extent? Is Dagon acting under Lucifer's orders, or under her own self-interest in trying to, I don't know, get one up on Lucifer? Is she trying to keep going the war with heaven? Or since heaven's been completely in disarray with the angels cast out and kind of being brought back to some equilibrium, instead trying to take on Lucifer? We don't know. And that's the kind of cool stuff that I want to see expounded on as we're going through this season, getting towards the end. That's the cool possibilities that we'll possibly be getting. So those are my opinions on the episode. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.